Well, Jahan Dotson, how you feel about the trade, man?
I don't know much
it was
about
crazy.
it
That was
outside of
definitely one of the
Eagles.
guys. Yeah, it was one of the guys we literally talked about yesterday. And
You
let
know
me,
the compensation off the top of your head?
yeah. Actually, dang, I'm about to forget it, but I will pull it up real quick.
That was Let's Get You Dub, right?
Yes,
he brought
it
up.
was.
He knew something we didn't.
Hey,
Jahan Dotson on the
shout
trade
out.
block.
Yeah, shout out, man. Shout out. Let me pull up the exact details of it. But yeah, so he was traded to the Eagles for a 5th and a 3rd. And then there's, whoa, hold on, let me read this. All right, so Dotson is headed to from Washington to Philadelphia. And the deal says the wide receiver and a 5th round pick to Philadelphia in exchange for a 3rd and 2 7th round picks in the 2025 draft. So essentially he went for a 3rd and 2 7th rounds, and he got traded to Philly, him and a 5th. Okay. So compensation wise, not too crazy. A 3rd and 2 7th. Former first rounder from, was that a year?
Yeah, basically.
2 years ago, yeah.
Basically, the
16th
big
overall
part
pick.
of that trade is you're giving up a 3rd.
Yeah.
That's the big part of it.
Because he was the 16th overall pick in the 2022 draft.
He really went that early.
Yeah, I didn't realize he went that early.
Pick.
Same here, bro. I was like, oh, he's like mid-second round. I was like 16th overall. Dang. And when I read up on it, they said initially they thought that he was going to be the guy opposite of Terry McLaurin. But when they did the whole shift in terms of the regime, he kind of fell out of graces with them, and they tried to bump him into the slot full time. They said he played a ton. And
wasn't working with Kingsbury.
Yeah, they said they played him the full game in that first preseason game. Then this second one, they played him like a normal 20-something snaps. And then from there, that was when they ultimately made the decision to put him on the block and move on from him. So he wasn't hurt. They didn't, wasn't any more context than that from what I just like surface level checked out. But now he's going to be joining A.J. Brown and Devonta Smith over in Philly.
Yeah, so he'll be the 3rd guy up there.
Mm-hmm.
What's the question then? Did we miss out?
Yeah, how you feel about it? Compensation was a 3rd and 2 7ths. We talked about needing a receiver. This is the 16th overall pick from 2022.
Clearly wouldn't be missing out.
Fair.
Yeah, would I want to give up a 3rd for him? I don't know. I think we can. Oh, I was going to say I think we can get a Cortland Sutton.
Yeah.
For cheaper, but right now I don't think the Broncos are going to be trading Cortland Sutton.
I would agree, and they got the young quarterback starting too, Bo Nix.
Yeah, they're going to want to keep Sutton around for Nix.
Yeah.
Nah, I'm good. 3rd round.
Because he has 1,100 yards in 2 seasons so far.
I know.
And 11
that's probably
touchdowns.
Fair. That's probably a fair trade. I ain't stressing about it though right now.
Okay.
Let's see if we get Ayuk, and then if we don't, see what things look like throughout the beginning of the season.
Yeah.
And then look at the wide receiver landscape 4 weeks in, 5 weeks in, if we feel like we need a guy.
Mm-hmm.
And I think there's going to be better names, bigger catches available.
Okay.
For potentially, I'm not going to say cheaper than what they traded for Dotson, but cheaper than what their market is right now just because you're how many games into a season.
Yeah.
Because that's what they're saying about Ayuk. The longer he holds out, the Steelers' compensation to get him might continue to drop because it's like, bro, now we're trading for a player that we didn't get in the whole like offseason program over here. So like his value's down for us. So we're not going to be giving up as many picks or as high of picks as what you guys would have got if you would have accepted the trade weeks ago, months ago. That's what I would do. I'm not stressing about Dotson. It would have. I'm not saying it wouldn't have been a nice piece, but I don't feel like Con missed on this one right now.
Respect. Yeah, for me, man, I looked at it as it was interesting because we obviously talked about him yesterday. So just the timing of it was like, oh, all right. I don't think if this deal happens prior to us talking yesterday, I don't think it moves my needle one way or the other just because I like the fact that he's high-end pedigree, 16th overall pick, just 2 years removed. So that part you still are intrigued by, especially when I kind of look at some of the guys on our roster. But because of the lack of higher end production, I don't feel like that's moving my needle in the sense of Ayuk because of he would have to prove, number one, that he could surpass a Van Jefferson.
Yeah.
At least
that's
I know,
guarantee.
Van has already proven that he can do what Dotson has done thus far. So that doesn't seem like an upgrade. That just seems more like an addition to the group. So if it's an addition to the group, the same way it could be a Juju, the same way we've talked about some of these other names that are just more of an addition versus an outlier or a guy that can raise and elevate it, it's not gonna like make me feel strong one way or the other about it. Obviously, that could change 6 weeks in if we're struggling to have a number 2 receiver and we see Dotson killing it in Philadelphia. Now, granted, it's a different scenario in Philly also with him having 2 other proven ones over there. Now, you're just the third wheel. You're going to get the better matchups. So
You
that
might be
could,
getting a lot of work with Pickett in practice.
Oh, man. Shout out. Make Kenny look good, man. Help him out, bro.
Yeah. Make each other look good.
Seriously, man. So, with that... Shout out to my dog. He said, you ain't going to work with Kenny. I like it. But yeah, man.
Pitt guy and a Penn State guy coming together.
That's going to be interesting. I mean, but that could have been here too. Because we talked about drafting Dotson.
Well, we kind of did have that because we had Muth.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we did. Yeah. Yep, man. But that's my thing. Like, unless, it's midway through the season and I see us struggling and him cooking, that's the only way I would probably look at Omar and be like, man, come on, bro. How you miss on this one? But, yeah.
I think you're right. If we would have brought in Dotson, I think we'd still have the same exact question. Who's our wide receiver 2? And who's our wide receiver 3? Is Dotson necessarily better than Roman Wilson right now?
Those are questions.
I get he's healthier, but Roman Wilson was having a pretty good camp. There's a reason we drafted him in the 3rd round. We're excited about him. Yeah. Could you beat out Roman Wilson to be like the slot guy or the number 3 guy? Or could you beat out Van Jefferson to be the number 2 guy? I don't think either of those are guarantees. Then, to give up a 3rd round pick for him, it's like, we're good. I'm not stressing it.
And it's different if he was drafted here. Because the same way you brought up Roman Wilson, we haven't seen Roman have success, but he's drafted here. So we just like, we don't have to do anything to get you. We don't have to give up anything for this. We might as well just see what we got here. Whereas for Dotson, we got to give up something just to get right back in the same scenario of, all right, you're a higher pedigree guy, but we still don't know what
and you
this
haven't
is going
been
to.
Here this whole offseason either.
Yeah, so it's just a lot of uncertainty with that, along with us having to give up compensation for him. So
Tom Jade says we have 6 wide receiver 3s.
Hey, yo. I think that's closer to truth than it is not truth, but I wouldn't completely agree with it though. But I think he's closer to being true. Would you say Van Jefferson is close to wide receiver 2 or wide receiver 3?
3.
Would you say Would you say Calvin Austin close to wide receiver 2 or wide receiver 3 right now?
3. He's actually closer to wide receiver 4.
Don't do that. If we was talking,
with all due respect,
Roman Wilson, we know he's been on the shelf right now.
He's 3.
Those are our top 3 outside of Pickens, right?
That's a good take.
That's what I'm like.
Scotty Miller, he's probably close to wide receiver 4.
You catch what I'm saying? I'm like, he's
wide receiver 5.
It's more right than wrong. I just don't like how it sounds, but it's definitely more right than wrong, bro. Why you gotta talk
Quez
like
Watkins,
that, bro?
wide receiver 7.
Hey, say.
And then what else we got? Des Fitzpatrick. He's probably wide receiver 6, or wide receiver 5, if he makes the team.
Hey, yo.
I think he's got the upper hand over Quez Watkins right now. I'll say that.
Quez got bad tape so far. I mean, in terms of a turnover in
Des
stadium. Yeah, like Des hasn't had that.
Every time it's thrown him, he catches it.
Yeah. I'm about to say, when you have a turnover in stadium, that sticks for a little bit, man. Unless you can get an explosive to offset it.
I haven't seen him make any plays on offense.
That's what I'm saying.
Either.
Yeah, he needs like an explosive play to offset that bad one. Yeah.